Okay, so how many of you, this is your very first semester at Rose State College? Okay, about 4 people. Shannon, you should have been in this class first. So this is going to be, oh, well, at least we're doing something different than we did before because we didn't do XD before. Yes, so this is good that you took it last. That's a good thing. Okay, so today, let me, if you can't log on, let me know. You should be able to log on with your Rose ID. Did you have trouble back there logging on?
Oh, I can't put.
Okay, put your Rose ID, and if you don't have your ID with you, I might can look it up. Do you have yours? Yeah, you got your card. And then your birthday, which would be in this format, 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and a 4-digit year with no punctuation in between there, no hyphens or slashes or anything.
That's what I did, and it's not letting me.
Have you logged in today at all?
I didn't log in today. I just turned it on and then.
Okay. Have you logged on in any other classroom?
I've logged on to classrooms before.
But I mean, this semester?
No, not this semester.
Okay. So if you haven't, you should be able to use. Do you have your Res ID there on you?
Yes, I have. Let me get it open. Hope I didn't get it incorrect.
Well,
because I'm pretty sure that's the name.
4, 6, 7, 8. That part's right. So what's your what's your birthday?
January 27th, 1999.
How many times have you tried?
I tried it like 3 or 4 times.
Okay, then it's locked you out. It won't let you in right now. You'll have to wait and I'll have to unlock it because once you try it, I think it's 3 times, then it locks up. So it's not going to let you in there right now. So you can watch from here. Anybody else couldn't log in? Did you have the same trouble? You tried your ID?
Yeah.
And your birthday? Yeah. Okay, sometimes when it's the first time, did you try it more than once?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to put first and last initial up there. In front of it. I forgot to tell you that. There you go. I didn't tell you that part. That wasn't. Yes. How many times have you logged in? If you do it over 3 times, it's going to lock you down.
So it doesn't matter if I do it.
No, and like if you tried it 3 times, it's going to say it was wrong 3 times, and it's probably locked you up for a certain period of time. And by the end of class, we go. Did you get logged in? Yes. Okay. All right. So if you didn't get logged in, you might want to be sure you can see up here if you want to come up close. Okay. And then we're going to go in and take attendance. So what we're going to be doing in this class, is there anyone in here that's not multimedia digital design degree? Yeah, that's the same. It's actually called multimedia digital design is what the degree is called. And okay, what was yours? Marketing. I always social media marketing. That's great. Because I usually have about, are you just marketing or are you under the option that says social media marketing? Okay. Well, what they've started requiring about a couple years ago, I think, marketing, there's an option called social media marketing. And so you take a lot of the digital design classes. Is yours having trouble? Oh, no. And the reason being that you have to learn how to create graphic posts. You have to take social media tools and design, which I teach that, and all of my multimedia students take that also. And so, Introduction to Multimedia, we're going to learn design principles, which is in the yellow book that William has. And then the XD is a fairly new Adobe product that we used to, in here, you learn a little bit of Illustrator, a little bit of Photoshop, and a little bit of InDesign. And what I'm doing now is, because you have a whole semester of each one of those classes if you're a graphic designer. And so what XD is a design tool that lets you drag and drop things to the screen to create either an app or a web design or brochures, newsletters, anything that a designer would design, but it creates what's called a prototype, which means you don't have to create the code behind it. You just create the design, and then you can actually run it. Like if it's a mobile app, you can actually run it on your phone and see how it works without the code or anything. So we're going to learn to use, it's also used for developing what's called UX, UI, which is interface development. So a lot of different softwares that you use, and like what Shannon's interested in is he does game development, and so he can use it for designing a prototype for that. So we're going to use this piece of software to implement design principles that we're going to be learning in the yellow book, and the design principles will be implemented or applied in every one of the software classes when you go into Illustrator, when you go into Photoshop. Those principles are principles that should be in every project that you complete. You should be able to say, hey, that's where my, what's the first one? Proximity. This shows proximity, or closeness to the objects on the screen is defined well. So you're going to learn those design principles. Who in here has had art classes? Okay, so you have, if you've had art classes, then you've had some of those design principles, so they won't hopefully be new to you. But that's what's been a problem with graphic designers in the past, because they were good on the computer, but they didn't learn the basics of color design, of where, you know, what colors go well together, how to align things to make it more pleasing to the eye. So this is why we take this class as an introduction to what the whole degree is, because you want to use those principles throughout the rest of your 2-year degree. Okay, make sense? We get it? Okay, so some people though, such as Shannon, he's already taken all those other classes because this class wasn't offered at a time he could go, probably. Is that it? Is that right? So you don't have to take this class first, but it gives you a pretty good overview of what the degree is about. And so it's kind of a good one. You're probably taking other courses in conjunction, like William, I know, is taking Illustrator and Animate. So what InDesign is, I mean, XD is, it's the tools and everything are like Illustrator. But you do more drawing in Illustrator. Illustrator is really a drawing program, and it's used with Animate because it's vector images, which is what Animate is also. Okay, so let's go into, if it's your first semester here, what you will be learning also is the interface called Canvas. So Canvas is what we teach all of our courses using that as our tool to deliver the course. And what that means is I put all your assignments there. I don't do paper assignments. Now we used to sometimes print out, and you'll do this in Illustrator, you'll print out some things like you see up there. But in this course, we won't. And so we will take tests online. We will do Adobe XD and create projects online. And so everything will be inside of Canvas. So it's being a little slow here. Let me get this. I don't know why that's coming up. Okay, so Canvas, if you have not been able to log in, Canvas may or may not let you use that same login if you've been locked out, but you can try it. So if you have never logged in and you need to know the 3 logins, if you go to rose.edu right here to the main website, you can go down at, I think it's at the bottom. Let me see. Should be. Yeah. Down at the bottom of our main web page, it says student login. And if you click there, it's going to show you the 3 logins that you'll be using all semester: Oasis, Canvas, and student email. And if you have not set up your student email yet, which is your rater.rose.account, you need to do that today. And I know most young people, they just like to text. They don't like to do email. But Rose only communicates with you through that Rater email account. So it's your responsibility to check that email, okay? All important information goes through there. So if you haven't set that up yet, you can go right here to the main Rose website, go scroll way down to where it says student login. It'll bring this screen up. And Oasis is something that we won't use in this class, but it's a separate software system that is where your transcript is kept, your enrollment, what classes you're in. That's where I post your final grades. So that's kind of like the business software system for Rose State College. So your login there is actually the same as what we were trying to log in, unless you change your password. You can go in and change your password sometimes. Then what we will be using in this class is the Canvas login. And so that's this one. And your username should be the same as what you were putting into the main system. So your first and last initials. And I'm going to get all my logins. Okay, so mine is different than yours, but it used to be, isn't it the same one? Who's in Canvas already? Yeah, okay. Is it the same as Oasis, your login? Yes, no? Is it your first and last initial and then your ID? Okay, that's what I thought. Used to be the first part of your email, which is different. Okay. All right, so when you get into Canvas, you'll see all the courses that you're taking here, which it won't look just like mine. But the one that we are, you should have up, has this little graphic right here, and it says 1133, section 7041. Now, the one thing that I want to remind you is this class is a hybrid 8-week class. So that means we're doing double time in here, right? Even more than double time, because normally if it's an 8-week class and it's a lecture class, you meet 3 hours, okay? That's what a 8-week class does, meets 3 hours twice a week. And we're only meeting 75 minutes twice a week. So what does that mean? The class is short, you don't have as much work? Sorry, no. It means you have to do a lot more work outside of class, okay? So, and the reason I set that this class up that way is because you do a lot of work independently on learning the software. And so rather than us sit in class all that time, I give you the option of doing it on your own, either in this lab, or if you have a computer. Who does not have a computer at home or a laptop? Oh, there are 2 students. Okay, 3. Okay, so this lab will be open most all the time, except for like when Professor Thompson's classes are in here. If it's full, then there won't be any empty seats, but he will always allow you to come in if he has an empty seat, okay? So the lab hours, this door will probably be closed. It's not like the main lab, which is 216, which is PCs. And that lab is open all the time because there's no classes in there. But if this door is closed and there's no class going on in here, you can go ask the supervisor to unlock the door, which is down in the next quarter rooms. There's a door right as you walk in that hallway. There's a door on your right, and he's the lab supervisor. And there's usually 2 or 3 people in there, except for like this first week, they're usually running, putting out fires somewhere, but their door is open. So they can unlock this door if you tell them that you're in my classroom, in my class, and I will send them a list and they check on that list. Then you can come in here and work. Okay, and I don't believe there's even a class in here after my class, this class today. So if there's not, then you're welcome to stay in here and work on these computers too. And if you are familiar, how many of you have PCs at home and not Macs? I know she ain't busy. You what? Yeah, an HP. Okay.
All I have is like yoga. And it's what it's called for the laptop.
Oh, it's a laptop. Okay. Okay. So it's probably a PC too, a Windows-based system. So if it's Windows-based, here's the advantage with using Adobe. Yeah, that's what, okay. Yeah, it's probably a Windows-based. Okay, so the thing is that with Adobe, it can be used on a Mac or a PC with only one license. So if you are multimedia degree students, you will want to purchase the Creative Cloud License student version, which will only cost you $19.99 a month, and you get about 25 pieces of software. Is it that many? What is it? Something like that? Who has a Creative Cloud besides Shannon? Okay, you do. So, okay, so 34. And you get access to all the updates constantly. I mean, you will use the Creative Cloud throughout your entire degree, and then you actually, it tells you how much you're saving as a student, because for industry, I think it's like either $59 a month or something like that per license. So and when you purchase that license, you can actually run 2 instances of it at all times, which means you can have it. It doesn't mean that you're on the internet. You connect that way to download the software, but the software actually runs on your computer. So once you purchase that license, you can run it there. Now, XD is what we'll be using in here. So like the marketing, what's your name? The marketing, what's your name? Eric. Eric may not want to buy the Creative Cloud because he's in marketing, so he won't take as many of the Adobe products. So there is a trial version of just XD that you should be able to download, but we'll check into that, okay, when we get to that, because I'm not having you do it today. So, but we will have to do it right away because of it being an 8-week class. You don't have very long to learn XD, and then you create a project that's the final project using XD, okay? So that's why you can't wait around to get it, but you can do a trial of it. All right, so you should have seen this, which was the welcome, and it told you go to the following Adobe site. So here, if you click here, we're going to see these are the things that you can do. There's little videos and there's pictures of all the different things that you can do if you become a Creative Cloud member. But we can also, to create our Adobe ID, so you can get into that software here and start using it for any assignments that I do give you today, go to adobe.com And then when it says sign in, it should give you an option right here to get an Adobe ID. So if you do not have an Adobe ID, and you can do this even if you've not logged into Canvas, okay? Just go to adobe.com and then click over in the far right, it says sign in. Click on the sign in and you should get this screen. And click where it says not a member yet. Get an Adobe ID. And we can't do this one because we don't have an enterprise one yet, he said. So we have to get our own Adobe ID. So yes.
Do I need to sign in or make my own?
You do this right here where it says get an Adobe ID. You'll need to do that. And then you'll fill this information out. First time sign up. So and I would always use my Raider email address for anything that, now I say that because most of the time I have students do that, but when you purchase the Creative Cloud, like that will be fine for you to do unless you're going to purchase the Creative Cloud. If you're going to purchase the Creative Cloud, you might want your personal, no, it makes you use your student ID, your email address for being a student. So you need here to put in your Raider email address. So put your first and last name, your Raider email address, and then you can pick whatever password you want. And it's generated one, but you can type in your own. And then date of birth, and then click sign up.
Is this gonna like cost money?
No.
Now?
Not right now. Yes.
I already have an account using my personal email. Is that okay?
We can do that. What happens is when you go to buy the Creative Cloud, you're going to have to use your EDU email address to get that student pricing. Okay, so you'll probably have to set up another one. So I don't know if it'll let you, well, with your birth date being the same, use a different email. Well, today we can try that and then you can see what happens. So then you would go to sign in. And so when I sign in, see how long it's going to take me to put up here. Okay, so now it tells me that I can download apps, but you shouldn't need to do that. Do you have all these icons down at the bottom when you logged into the Mac? If you didn't log into the Mac, you won't have them. You have these? You guys have them? Everybody have them? Okay, so there, it's already downloaded, but like if we click right here on Adobe XD down in on your Mac, I think it will make you log in with your Adobe ID is what he told me. I haven't gotten to test it out because he just got it done over the weekend. Let's see what it has you do. So those students that are that already have the Creative Cloud, you can just log in with your Creative Cloud login here.
I'm just going to ask for say we use this to
No, only until you have, until you are no longer a student, you won't get to use that. Did you have well, you only want to do the 19. No, you can't do the whole annual. I mean, if you do it here, it's not going to charge you that $199. Right there. Is that what you're asking? You have to wait till the financial aid comes, and then they give you a card of financial aid that you can't. Yeah, you can't put. What I'm saying is this annual, it's not gonna. the 1999 a month. See the payment, that's what you want to do. But you can't, you don't have to do it today. What I'm saying is the Adobe ID, okay, click on Adobe XD right there. All I want you to do right now is to create the ID, and then you should have to put it, oh, you already have a credit card.
Yeah.
So
I don't-
you,
I don't have to do a membership, right? I don't have to.
no, not right now.
Okay.
You will have to, if you don't download, okay. So did you do, oh, you're on your laptop. Yeah, you're gonna have to do that to get it on your laptop. So unless you, but you can work in the classroom and it won't cost you anything. Okay, and I know some people don't like the Macs. Like, here's what the deal is. If you're a graphic designer, I promise you, Macs are very easy. Let me tell you my background. Shannon thinks I didn't ever do PC. From 1978 until 1996, I was on mainframe computers. I was a coder. I did PC. I did the first Windows PC that came out. And I could code behind the scenes. It was before there was Windows. I had to do DOS commands on a PC. And so I know PC, but for graphic designers, they need to know that platform. Unless you're just going to work for yourself the rest of your life, which I think Shannon can do. He's going to have his own business. So he's doing it that way. But you need to be versatile if you want to get a job. So that's why we provide this environment in the classroom for you to have a Mac classroom. Then you can choose on Photoshop is the only one that you can choose to either have it with Professor Griffith in a PC classroom in BS210, or I teach it in here. So that gives you an option of learning both platforms. And so if you can't afford the Creative Cloud, your only option is to spend a lot of time in the Slack, because you cannot do the work just in the class period time that we have, the 75 minutes, okay? So, and as far as using the way financial aid, the way I've understood it in the past, is that whatever you have left over after they've paid your tuition and your books, that they give you that remainder on. You can ask for a card. It's like a credit card. Only it's called a Rose State something card. I'm assuming they're still doing this. And then you can use that money that's on that card to purchase what you're saying, the $19.99 a month or the annual. Does that make sense? Is that what you were asking me? Okay. And then you can actually, but you should still be able to create a free Adobe ID to get onto this Mac. It won't let you on there because these licenses that he loaded on these Macs let you use an Adobe ID that isn't connected to a purchased membership today. So you can't use that free ID on the software on yours. You'll have to log into the Mac. Okay, so when I sign, oh, it took my sign in off. Why did it do that? Oops, not Raider. Mine's not Raider. Mine's just. It always does that to me. Let me see. No, I don't want it to put that. Now see, when I clicked on XD, it came up with that login sign, right? So yours should have done that. And then you get this screen. Welcome to Adobe XD. Let's design together. Okay, that's where you can actually, if you want to, if you don't have your book yet, you can go through that little tutorial and get an idea of what we're going to do in the book too. Not right now, but if you want to do that before class next time, then you'll have a head start on what XD is all about. Okay. So everybody should have created a free Adobe ID, and when you click on any of these apps down here, like when you take Animate and Illustrator, you will use that same Adobe ID that we just created in this class. So to log into any of these, you'll be able to use that free ID while you're in this classroom. All right? Is that working for everybody? Everybody understand? Okay.
As long as I'm using the computer in the school without doing it at home, I won't be able to get charged by anything.
That's right.
Okay, I just gotta be sure because that's the one thing I was curious about.
Yes. What did you say?
I'm saying I just create the ID and I'm not finding the screen that you think like what's the size. Oh, go down and click the Adobe. Go down to the icon for the bottom. And you must click now. Go click on X2. And any of those apps, once they do not, they'll ask for that ID. But didn't you say you already bought credit card? Oh, okay. So there, now you should be able to sign in and then get that screen. Okay, thank you.
So now, yeah, as long as you're in this classroom or any of the classrooms that have, like BS 210 is the PC room, and it has Adobe Creative Cloud loaded in it also. So if you want to do your work in there, you can also ask for when that lab, for them to open that lab, okay? And when there's not a class in there. All right, so you can see what we're going to be able to do here is we can create applications for any of these different sizes, an iPad, an iPhone, a website. You can design the size that you want, and you can create buttons that work by just dragging and dropping. And when you get finished, it'll look like a regular app that you can try it out on here, okay, on your smartphone. All right, so we're not going to get to that today, but we might. See how long. Okay, so we're going to have to cover a lot every day, so let me go here. All right, so that's the Adobe site. Let's look at the syllabus. And the syllabus here gives my information, and my office hours are on my door. They should also, although they weren't last class, be in my instructor discussion here. Let me see if I put them in this class. Yeah, here they are. My office hours are here. And so when you get, if you want this PDF because you're not able to go down in front of my door and look, you know, you can come to the office. I have 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, that I'm in my office, okay? And I can also do Zoom in my office hours if you can't get to campus or something and you have a question that you want to ask. But the best way is through email too. All right, so there's some things about myself on there. When I do get the lectures uploaded, they'll be at a YouTube link, and I'll leave them there for all semester. So it'll be sometime tomorrow. And here it tells you how you can download trial versions of Adobe CC. So if you're not wanting to purchase the Creative Cloud for $19.99 a month, then you can download, but they're limited, I think, to 30 days. I think that's what it is. So if you might want to, if you're just going to use the trial, you might want to try to learn it by coming to the lab and use the trial the second 4 weeks when you're working on your final project. Okay, that's just a suggestion. Okay, so that's about week 1. We're going to get into the intro here, and then proximity is what we're going to study in the design book. So I'm going to call that design book up here where we can look at it. We're going to be doing some assignments out of here. Let me, oh, I didn't finish going over the syllabus. Let me do that first. So when I went over here to the syllabus, Okay, so here's the course description, which I already told you kind of what we're doing in here. And here are the objectives. And in here, it tells you that we're going to create a logo with Illustrator. And we may do that, and we may not, because it depends how long it takes us with XD. But Illustrator, that's one of the types of products that you want to create with Illustrator is logos. And logo design, there's a lot of tutorials, even at the Adobe site, that give you instructions on that. Like if you go back to the Adobe site under, say, I wanted to learn, let me go under support here.
I'm trying to figure out where am I supposed to go to that website.
Which website?
That website that you're on.
This is just adobe.com.
I'm already on adobe.com.
Okay, so all I'm doing here is I'm just trying to show you that there's some, here's where if you buy the Creative Cloud, but then there's also like, let me see if I can find where those.
Oh, that's just for buying it.
Yeah, and then there's some tutorials that I'm going to show you here in just a second. Try Creative Cloud partner. They've changed the site all up. Let me find where Creative Cloud for education. Where your Creative Cloud? Okay. Oh, those are things in my things that I've done. There are, I'll have to find them and put the links out there for the tutorials, because there's at Adobe, and I don't want to spend a lot of time finding that because we don't, let me see, adobe.com/tutorials. I think that's, yeah, find it that way. Oh, that says an error page. Photographers. Maybe this is where it is. Yeah, here it is, Learn. It'll be under the Learn for each app. Out at their site, they have tutorials. See, here's, okay, I'm going to play this right here. This will show you what give you a better idea of what XD does.
Hey everyone, I'm Howard Pitts, Senior XD Evangelist at Adobe. Last month, we dropped a pretty hefty update, which you can read all about at lexxd.com. But we're far from finished and have a lot planned for this year. This month, we're shipping a few extra goodies, including the ability to select and edit multiple prototype wires at the same time, the plugins panel, and super and subscript text transformations. Let's take a look. In previous versions of XD, dragging a prototype wire to another artboard would reveal a pop-up. But in today's release, we're shifting the properties over to the right to not only give us room for additional prototyping tools we're actively building, but to also allow you to select and edit multiple wires at once. Here's a fairly complex project I've been working on that utilizes time triggers to transition from artboard to artboard, and I initially set each with a 0.4 second delay and the easing set to snap. But after looking at this again, it's just not working. Thankfully, making changes is now incredibly simple. Instead of having to select and edit each transition individually, I can simply drag out a selection across all of my screens, which will automatically select all the artboard-based wires. I can now hop over to the new Properties Inspector over to the right and edit them all at once. I'll double the delay to 0.8 seconds and switch the easing to in-out. Launching the preview one more time, the transitions are looking quite a bit better. Of course, this also works on a smaller scale as well. Say you have just a few elements wired up leading to another artboard, but they all contain slightly different properties. With a wired up object selected, I'll hold down my Shift key and then click on another wired up object. Now that I have a few selected, the properties of both can be updated just like before, but this time you'll notice that because some of the values were different across both wires, a line is present. Since I want to make sure that these are the same, I'll jump in and set new values. With that set, no matter which wire I select, the values will be the same, giving me a much more consistent prototype. The next improvement we're shipping in June is the plugins panel, which you can find right alongside your layers and assets. With so many incredible plugins finding their way into XD, we wanted to make sure they're front and center. When the panel is open, you'll see your currently installed plugins, many of which now expand to reveal their options right within the panel. If you haven't explored the powerful world of plugins yet, or you simply need more in your life, the plus button at the top will launch the browser. We have a lot more in store for the plugins experience, so definitely stay tuned. The final addition to the June update are more text transformations. Last month, we added uppercase, lowercase, and strike-through, and this month, we're adding sub and superscript. When within a text layer, select the characters you wish to transform, and then hit either of the new icons over to the right to set it slightly below or slightly above the line of type. And that's a quick look at the June update to Adobe XD, further laying the groundwork for some really exciting features we have coming in the future. To continue your XD journey, head on over to letsxd.com, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, they have also, once you learn to get around, which, you know, I understand this is all new. I mean, he gave more than what I thought he was going to. I wanted to give really just like an overview. And here's what it tells you: crafting your first design. So this is a tutorial to do a first design without the book. And wiring up your prototypes, sharing with stakeholders and developers. And what's really neat about this is that when you develop something, it's all about getting it in front of people for them to see your design and to be able to know what you did creatively to be able to market it, right? And so this lets you create an actual living prototype of an idea that you have, and you can actually give the live one to people that might be interested in purchasing your idea. So what your final project in here, you're going to design a mobile app that's never been, you have to come up with an idea of something that has never been done before, an app that you haven't seen out there already. Something maybe you think, man, I wish there was one that would do this, you know. And so there's tons of apps. So I understand, you know, we're quite a while into the app development phase, so there's been tons of them. So this gives you a little bit of time to figure that out, but we're going to develop the tools the first about 6 weeks to be able to create that prototype, okay? So we're not just going to be learning all these different pieces of software and then I throw out there, okay, design it in InDesign. That's why we're going to zero in on XD. Does that mean if you know a little Illustrator, you know a little Photoshop, can you not use that? Yes, you can use that, because all of that you can incorporate into XD, or you can develop it all inside XD. They have primitive tools, but of course, that's why there's all that other software with Adobe, because Photoshop specializes in bitmap images, okay, and pixels, and where you go in and you do things with photos. It now is so integrated with Illustrator that it will let you use vector drawings too. But basically, Illustrator is to deal with what's called vector drawings. Anybody know what a vector is? What's a vector? Anybody know? Who's a mathematician in here? So have you ever learned vectors? Vectors are a formula that causes graphics to be able to be resized. And when you're in a photo, have you ever tried to drag the corner of it and it doesn't resize it or it pixelates it? Okay, that's because it's a bitmap image made out of pixels, and you can't stretch pixels. But if you draw something, or you take like a some of the drawings that are out there that you can download that are little cartoons or whatever, you can stretch those because those are vectors. And so they are set up where it rescales on whenever you drag it, okay? So those are the two different types of images that you can work with. And video is different also. So those are things that you can import them into XD. If you, how many of you already feel like you know Photoshop? I know Shannon, that's his, isn't that the one of your, that's the one you prefer, Photoshop, right? Okay.
That way,
To help you out with Photoshop. A lot of people start with Photoshop. How many know Illustrator? Okay, so Illustrator is the one that you've done the most with. Therefore, you're going to favor that. And so if it has you to create a graphic, you might say, oh, I'm going to go over here in Illustrator and create that, and then I'll just use it in XD. Okay, so XD lets you bring it all together and create like a prototype without having to know the code behind it. And if you get a prototype that you can sell to somebody that's a coder somewhere that will pay you for it, which I had one student did that quite a few years ago. There was a company in Florida that builds apps, and she was able to sell her idea to them before there was even an XD. Okay, but it's a lot easier now to develop with a prototype using an XD than it used to be. So those are the things. That's what our ultimate goal is to learn XD and design principles well enough in this class, and your creativity to design an app. You don't have to code it. It doesn't have to, it has to work in XD, okay? And so what those wires that he was talking about is what connects different screens if it's an app. They say if you click here, it's going to take you to this screen. So you're laying that out in XD, and you can actually see it work. And so that's why he was saying his transitions weren't quite right, so he went in and changed them. Transitions, if you know PowerPoint, is how you go from slide to slide, right? And you can do it a lot of different, you can choose a lot of different animations, they're called, without having to code the animation, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And so if you have your book in InDesign before next time, you'll want to have done chapter 1. I'll go an overview of it, but it gives you the how to get around in XD. It's the one that says getting started, and there's at every one of in XD in this book. Here's what's the advantage of not having having the book, but if you'll look at this link that I've given you, it's for a web edition of this book, and let me show you why that is a good deal. Go over here. Okay, where did I put that? I think it's in here. It should be, yeah. Okay, this is where you go to get the non-designer's design book, or you can buy it at the bookstore. But here's the link to it. And when you purchase it, you also have access to the ebook when you do that. And so that is what I'm going to be looking at in class. I'll pull it up that way. And then the other book, the AD book, you click on textbook. Uh-oh, why did it not do that? I know I had that. Well, here's where I'll go and put it in again. I don't know why that link didn't work. I have to fix it. Let me go here. I'm probably gonna have to sign in to get to my web edition anyway. With the web edition, there are videos all along the way for the chapters. And so right here, when you get the web edition of the book, see it says web edition up here, it says getting started. And here I go about classroom in a book. Installing the program, you don't have to worry about that because you already will have it installed here. So now to the online content. Okay, first thing you have to do is get the lesson files. And to work through the projects in this book, you will need to download the lesson files from peachpit.com. You can download the files for individual lessons, or it may be possible to download them all in a single file. So here's where it tells you exactly where to go to access those. You register your book. So if you have if you buy the hard copy, then you have this, you have the ISBN number, and you can go in and have access to the web edition. If you want only the web edition, which is less expensive, then you will register through here, and then that will give you access to, I have to put my ISBN in here, but I really don't, because I've already got it. So let me go to my account again. So right here are the lesson files. Oops. Once you register, they'll show up here under registered products. And now I'm going to download, I can download these all as one big zip, but I also have them on my iCloud. Let me see if it's going to show up my iCloud or not. Sometimes it does on here, and sometimes it takes forever. Yeah, there's my landing page. Okay, those are the challenges. Those aren't the lesson files. Okay, so if I want to go ahead and download them, I'm going to say let me go. So I'm going to download them on this hard drive so that I don't have this problem that I've had before in this class. Is here, I'll just download them there. So it'll go on the hard drive. When it unzips, which you will need these, lesson 1, you don't have anything that you will submit because it's just a video showing you, or I'm sorry, it's just things that you do to access parts of it. So let me go over back to the, where did that go? Oh, I thought I still left the book open, but I guess that I did not. Yeah, there it is. No. Yeah, it's gonna make, I'm gonna have to do it again. Okay, so I go back over here to my account, say launch. So when I get into, I get my lesson files for that chapter, and it tells me to do them in the recommended order. So I'm going to start with lesson 1. If you already knew XD and just needed update on certain things, you can do this, what's called Jumpstart. But here's the first one that I'm going to do, an introduction to Adobe XD-CC. And this is how all of the Classroom in a Book books look. They are all this format. So when you get into Illustrator, it will look, your Illustrator Classroom in a Book that you have will look just like this. It'll have a lesson overview. It'll tell you approximately how long it's going to take you to do that lesson. And it tells you where to go to get your lesson files and to access the web edition. And in this case, it's showing you the things that you do in XD. You design, prototype, preview, and then share. So that's kind of like in this first lesson, you'll be introduced to a typical Adobe XD design that's called the workflow, and explore the workplace. So that's what you do in this first lesson. So this one has a lot more reading than any of the other chapters do. But if we go here, let me go to where the first video is. This is where it says Adobe XD is complete end-to-end solution for designing user experiences for mobile apps, websites, and more. You can design, prototype, preview, and share using the same tool. So as graphic designers, these are the main things that you're going to be working on with your graphics once you learn the tools. That's what you hope to get a job doing. So in Adobe XD, you can create prototypes for websites or apps by designing all the screens or pages in a single Adobe XD file. You can add artboards, and the reason Shannon was saying it's like Illustrator is because Illustrator uses artboards. Photoshop doesn't their interface is a little bit different. But on that artboard, you choose what screen size that you want to be working with. Here's the workflow, means what steps you go through. So you're going to do research on what you want to do. Then you're going to do a wireframe design and then a prototype testing with the actual graphics and buttons in there. And then you would launch your development. That's if it was accepted. So within each portion of the web edition, you have questions, so it tests to see if you read that section, and you can do those to test yourself. Then here's a note that it gives you that a low fidelity wireframe is one way to determine the functional elements of a page or screen without diving into design specifics like colors and fonts. It is a quick way to explore the basic structure. So like, you know, a lot of people that are really artistic and very creative, you've probably seen they'll take a napkin at a restaurant, they get an idea all of a sudden talking to somebody and they write it out on a napkin, right? Well, that's kind of what this first phase of the wire design is. If you think up an idea, XD will actually load, once you have your Adobe ID, you can install on Android or on an iPhone, an Adobe XD app. And so if you were sitting at the restaurant, instead of having to draw it on a napkin, you could actually put it into Adobe XD. And when you got back to your computer, you can access them in the Creative Cloud, whatever you drew up on your app. So it's a lot of neat things that you can do with it. Here's something else to tell you. The smaller blue area at the bottom of the artboard on the left, covering the continue button, represents a hotspot or interactive area that users will tap or click. The larger blue area on the right represents the resulting screen that shows the blue connector, also called a wire, indicates the connection between the hotspot and the resulting screen. So it's saying in this particular design, if you click on this button, it's going to take you to this screen. So that's in XD what you're seeing. So here's where I was showing you that there are videos in here. If you have not already downloaded the project files for this lesson to your computer from your account page, make sure to do so now. See the getting started. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys before next time, you don't need the files for lesson 1, I don't think. I'll look at it. If you do, I'll put them out there. I'm going to put them inside Canvas, the zipped file of the lesson files, so that when you get to class next time, if you don't have them already downloaded for yourself, you will have access to them to be able to download them onto the computers in here. You can also put them on Google Drive, which is associated with your Rater.email address. So you have a Google Drive, you have a YouTube channel, you have all of that connected with your Rater account. Okay, and that's what we'll be using in here. Even if you have another Google Drive, I want you to use your Rater one because I can get to those. They're integrated with Canvas, okay? So anything, but only for things that you have to turn in. You know, you don't have to use the Google Drive, but if you put things on the computer here, it may or may not still be there when you come back to class. So you either, there is a USB slot on the back of these iMacs. So if you do create something and you want to be sure that it's there when you come back and you don't know how to use Google Drive, you can also purchase a USB drive that you can back up your things every time that you create, okay? All right, so let's look at this and then we'll probably won't have much more
To
time.
start working in Adobe XD, you'll open a document, you'll explore the XD workspace. You'll create and manipulate your design content using various elements like panels, bars, and windows, all of which make up the workspace. Now, when you first launch Adobe XD, you'll see the home screen, which is what you see here. Your home screen may look totally different. You may actually not see the recent content down here if you haven't opened files before, or your recent list may look different, and that's okay. As long as you can see things like these icons, be able to open, create new files. And on the left, you'll be able to see these menu options. So with Adobe XD started, you should see the home screen here. Click your computer over here on the left. And then in the dialog box that opens, go to the Lessons, Lesson 01 folder, and you should see the L1 start file. Go ahead and open that up.
Oh, you do need that. And I didn't download those.
On
for you.
Windows or Mac, you may want to click, on Mac, you may want to click the green button up here to maximize. It is going to go in full screen mode. So on Mac, what you can do is you can actually press the Option key and it'll turn into a plus, which means it'll just maximize it. It won't go into full screen mode. On Windows, you can also click the maximize in the corner. Now, if you open this file and you see a blue bar down here, which I don't actually see, this is telling you that you're missing fonts. We're going to talk more about that in lesson 3. On the right end of it, you can click the X somewhere over here. Now, you're going to use this L1 start file to practice navigating, zooming, and investigating an Adobe XD document in the workspace.
So that was the first one that he gives you, and he goes in these ones that are, oops, what is it? Oh, to get out, you can do that. Okay, these are going to be all along the way. So here, following the video are going to be the steps of what he just told you to do, only listed in steps. So if you don't want to watch the video and you just want to do the steps, you can do that. Either way, it tells you what you're going to learn more about the fonts in lesson 3. So you can see over here, it puts a check mark when you go through and have done that. So here's exploring. Oh, first it has you open files when you starting Adobe. Oh, that's the one that we just did. Okay, this is the other one, exploring the workspace. And you'll notice that there's a video again. And then you can choose to go down here and see what it's going to show you in that video, or you can watch the video. Okay, so it's pretty cool that it shows you with everything. And here it shows you Mac OS or Windows, how they look different. Working in design mode, prototype mode, changing the view of artwork, previewing your design. So, and here's where you set up your project. So the first thing you need to do is you have to purchase this book through the web edition. Let me see. I thought, now did the bookstore not have this one, William, when you bought that one?
I don't think so. All they told me that they think I have all the books, but I knew I was missing one.
Okay. Okay, because I know I did adopt it, but they may not have gotten it over there. You should be able to go, you can also, I'll get this, I don't know why that link, let me see if I can, digital purchases. Let me go to this book again. Let me go to,
Am I still going to be able to like go to those areas where you are instead of this?
where are you on? Oh, you're in XD, actually. And so you're not in the book. I was in the book. And we can start, okay, what we can do is if you've purchased it, see, you'll have to purchase the book first to be able to do what I was doing, okay? So like it says where I purchased it. So let me go back. Did you get it, Shannon? Have you got the book yet?
Yes.
Okay, did you buy the ebook or the health or the? So where did you go to buy it?
Right here.
At Peach Pit? Okay. Okay, so if you go to, I don't know why that link didn't work. Did you use my link?
Yes.
Well, why is my link not working now?
This is the only, yeah, this was the only book.
Okay.
That one right there, you get from a different, can't get it off here. That one you can't buy off here.
So where did you go to on my links? I had a link somewhere that worked.
The second book is for Vital Source. It's on one right now.
Oh, Vital Source is the design principles one. Yeah, but book 2 is supposed to be the XD book. And I thought that, yeah, Peach Pit, but did it not, my link worked for you?
Yeah.
Why Why is it not working now? That's weird. No, it has nothing to do with the Mac. Let's see. Upload. Did anybody else get it to work? Let's see. That was in the syllabus. You used the one in the syllabus, right? Well, why won't it? Yeah. Did I change it or something? Oh, you used this one for the non-designer's design book, and then you use this one. Okay, this is the one in the syllabus. I was using a different. Okay, there you go. Go to the syllabus. So let me put this same link.
Is it Adobe XD CC Classroom?
In a book, yes. And so see, you have these different options on purchasing. You can, the web, if you purchase the book and ebook bundle, it's $64.79, and it gives you the registration information to go in. If you want, that's just the book. Here's just the ebook. Which one did you get, Shannon? This one down here, and it gives you the web edition. So you don't have to do the $64.79 unless you want this hard copy of the book. Okay, so right here is all you need to purchase,
I would probably have to.
which is $38.39. Okay.
I probably will have to go back to the bookstore and tell them I am supposed to be getting the book.
Okay. So what about that now? What'd you say? Yes. Yes, you need both of those. Yes, and so let me go back and put this link in that other one. So if somebody goes to this link, which was under here, and this is the one that I need to fix.
You get that design book and ebook, $15 off Amazon. You just buy it with Kindle or mobile app or whatever.
The design book. Yeah, that's right. If you don't have to buy at the bookstore, you can get this non-designer's design book as an ebook and not the hard copy a lot cheaper off of Amazon.
Well,
But
I have the Oklahoma tab.
yeah, you have to go through there. Yeah, that's what I was saying. If you don't have to go through there, then you can.
I'm so going to be going to the bookstore because that's the only place I want to go.
Okay, so let me see. Now this link should work now. Let me see. There you go. Okay, so both the syllabus link and the other one works. This should take you here, and then you have one of these options. But if you go to the bookstore, they should have the either well, if you purchase the printed book, it should give you, you should be able to go to peachpit.com. I can show you how to do that. And then you would have access to the web edition too. So if you buy this at the bookstore, you should still be able to get the web edition.
I probably did, and I think I am supposed to get.
Okay. Okay. All right. So if you have access to this, you need to go ahead and go through part 1 and read the first chapter of the design book. Okay, because we're going to cover both of those. We'll probably go into, I think we'll go into the second lesson also on the XD. Let's see, that was, where does it say, week 1? Yeah, because week 1, we're going to cover this, and this is covered in the, this assignment is covered in the design book, but also there's some videos that are in the assignment that are actually produced by Robin Williams. And so I have you watch those when you do this assignment, but I'll talk about that some more on Wednesday. But that's what we're going to cover first, the introduction, and the first chapter in the design book is called Proximity. Okay. All right. So on Wednesday, we'll be really feet to the ground, getting through these. Okay. Because by the 6th week, we want to be through, the tutorials here so that you're able to start working on your final projects because you know the software, okay? All right, you're free to go. Just remember, this class will be available, should be after this, so any of you that need to work on these computers, you should always be able to do that, okay?
How do I log out this?
You go up to the apple up in the left-hand corner and click on it, and then where it says log out, up in the left-hand corner. You get it?
Yeah, I got it. I signed out.
Okay, good.